Hello and welcome back to Women Today. Our topic this week is arts and media. We've got our guests. We've got Amanda Hart. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Dan.
Good. And we've got Minal Patel. How are you feeling?
I'm great, thanks.
Good. So I want to talk about the media, and I want to know, what do you think? Do you think that the media represents you? What do you guys think? Do you think the media represents you?
In general,
Like the mainstream media,
Yeah.
as in like TV, radio,
for me,
newspapers.
I think I don't feel it truly represents who I am as a person. I tend to promote authenticity and honesty. You'll find me I'm more comfortable being out, walking my dog in my leggings and my trainers, and I also am very open and with life. That's what makes me tick. It's what I live and breathe, and I'm not really one for glamouring myself up and makeup and all the rest of it. So I think, I look at my daughter and how that's affected her. She is so different to me.
How old is your daughter?
She's 17, and she won't forgive me for saying this, but she won't leave the house unless her hair is immaculately straightened, and she looks absolutely drop dead gorgeous, and that's for college every morning. That's if we go to Morrison. So for me, I find it very difficult, because for her, she's absorbed with this 24/7. The media tells her and dictates to her, because she's constantly looking at her phone, looking at screens, looking at television, which constantly feeds back to her how she should look and be and feel and how she should speak. So I do find that conflict, because I watch that. But I step back from that, and I just try to in my line of work, advocate being authentic and being real and showing yourself, warts and all. I think we're moving into that. I think we're moving more towards that. It would take some time for it to be there mainstream, but I think we're moving that way.
And what do you think, Minal? Do you think the media represents you, mainstream media?
Not at all. I'm unique. I think mainstream media is there's so many channels out there now, like just on Sky alone. So there's something for everyone, but you really have to dig deep to find something that interests you. In terms of me as a ethnic woman, there's still work to be done there. I think there's so many opportunities behind the scenes as well. It's not just what you see on the TV or what you hear on the radio. There's people in the background which need to be acknowledged, or they need to talk about what they're doing, so that others can see that there's an opportunity.
Wow. And Amanda, you were talking about how that you were saying how the media kind of, you feel like your daughter is kind of like consumed.
Yes.
With it all.
Yes, she's consumed with all these videos that tell her how she has to look and dress and how to apply her makeup, and that all comes from mainstream television. So it's just it's all inflamed. But the work that I'm doing is to try to promote more television and media broadcast that shows real women in their real state, and how they've actually overcome their everyday lives, because we all have challenge. A lot of what's portrayed in the media is that that there are people that just drift through life and look ethereal and beautiful and immaculate, and that's really showing a very warped sense of reality to young people today.
So on that note, we asked the general public what they think, if the media represents them. So let's have a look at what they had to say.
Probably not, but then I would say probably everybody would say the same. We're not all 6 foot tall and size 0 and beautiful every day and wake up without any makeup on and still look good.
In a way, yeah, but it's definitely stuff as women is always very negative. It's always about like their sexuality, like race, their size, their colour. It represents us in a way, but it's definitely harsher on women than it is on men, in my opinion.
Not exactly in the way I would hope them to. It's a lot like, you know, we're still trying to go away from like the sexy woman biker kind of thing, and I want it to be more like career, successful, strong women, independent women kind of, you know, depiction. And I don't know, we're getting there. Slowly the media is getting there, yeah.
Wow, that was so interesting. What did you guys think?
Yeah, I think that young girl was actually quite spot on. I think it portrays more about women from a sexuality point of view, and I think we need to portray women as just real, down-to-earth characters who are all very unique. You know, we are women, there are men, and we're not, you know, this sort of sex object. We are very, you know, very, very down to earth, and we get challenged just like everybody else. So I think the real beauty in women is actually is to show our authenticity and that real essence of who we are, rather than what's on the exterior.
I think that's a really good point. You know, trying not to objectify women.
Yeah.
Trying to show, you know, their inner beauty, as to say, you know, trying to understand how they feel and what they have to say is more important than, for example, what you see, like your physical appearance.
Absolutely.
What do you think, Manal?
Yeah, I think more needs to be said out there about what they do, what women do day to day. You know, they have this career, they're a mum, they do so many things. They're not just a newsreader that looks perfect every time that, you know, you turn on the news channel. I think it has got better, but there's lots of work to be done.
And what do you think should be done? How can we change this?
I think I think it's up to the women to, you know, with social media now, there's other outlets. We don't have to depend on mainstream media. We can do it ourselves. There's, you know, YouTube. You can set your own YouTube channel up, if you know, your own cooking channel, your own makeup channel. You can blog. You can start getting out there from now. You can volunteer at places. If you're young, go and intern and take up opportunities. You have to go and get it. I would say.
That's so. I love everything you're saying. It's just so amazing. Amanda, what do you think?
Yeah, I was just about to say the same thing. I think that's the thing. Women have got to start going out there now and saying, look, this is me, this is what I do, and I've got something to say, or I've got something to show the world. And I think that's the only way we're really going to start turning the tables, because then when there's when people see that, they'll be inspired to come forward as well. So it will just I think that will slowly start to turn it to you know, to more authentic and real aspect of who we are as a society.
So how do you think we can have that more authentic, kind of real kind of
well, I think
society?
that's just, you know, having the confidence and belief in yourself. And I think, as you say, you know, just start doing something slowly but surely, you know, setting up a YouTube channel. I mean, I've just done this myself. You know, it took a lot for me to start doing a video diary. And someone said to me, you know, quite naturally, you know, you've got to do that. And I said, well, actually, it's not very easy to do that, because, you know, you've got yourself there, and you've got to get past yourself before you can get the message across. But actually, you know what I did? I set a target. I said, well, I've got to do it, and I just got myself out there. And actually, once you've taken that first leap of faith, you find it actually quite inspiring, and then you get the feedback, and you realise, yes, actually, people want to hear this. There is something valid that I've got to say. And I think that, you know, people are all sitting there with it brimming under the surface. You just got to, you know, let it come out.
I think also one thing that helped me, for example, is the fact that I believe that the message I have to portray is more important than myself, than me. So my journey, my aspirations, my goals are there to help other people. It's not for myself. I'm doing this. I'm doing it for another person. That's something that helped me. I mean, what do you?
Absolutely. I mean, I think I was quite fearful up until a certain point, and then I went through an illness. Back in 2012, I had breast cancer. I went through all the treatment, and that's what when I got through it, and I'm sat here, and I just thought, no, I'm not. What's there to fear after I've been through all that, you know? And now nothing can stop me. But what I want to teach or help the younger generations understand is don't wait for something bad to happen to you. That, you know, it's inside of you. Don't be fearful. You know, everyone has their own journeys. It will happen, but slowly but surely, just go for it.
Wow, I think that's so important. You know, just to, like you were saying, just go for it. Just do it. You know, there's lots of help out there.
Absolutely.
There's, I mean, you know, you've got your company, Red Tower.
Mm-hmm.
How can someone, like a young person, for example, if anyone watching this show, like a young person,
Mm-hmm.
and they were thinking, okay, I want to get into the media, I want to, but I just don't know how to do it. What would you say to them?
Well, first of all, they'd have to explore what area of media, and then no one's going to give you a job on your in your lap. And I feel that with younger generations, they do have a bit of they're owed a job. You know, even after they finish a media degree or they've volunteered for X amount of years, they still think, oh God, you know, why am I not just getting this job? No, it's competitive. That's the reality. Keep building your CV. Go, you know, just keep volunteering. The community station I used to work at, I remember a girl there, she volunteered for 5 days a week at one point. And now she's on one of the main, you know, she's a sub for one of the mainstream radio stations, and it paid off. And her, you know, her persistence is something to admire. And I would say to any young person, explore, try different mediums. If you're into broadcast, try television, try radio, try social media. Explore it first whilst you're young. Then once you find which sort of discipline you want to take further, excel in that area.
Wow, that's really great advice. And what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it is hard work and it is commitment, but that's the belief. You've really got to look at the core of who you are and what you want to project out there in the world. And I think that that's the thing. You've got to find that, you know, what is my uniqueness? And when you find that uniqueness, then you build that confidence slowly, and you've got to keep doing it. I think what I always tell people is that we feel the dedication and determination in our heart space. So when you really, truly feel passionate about something and you want to create something in this world, ego steps aside, you know, all the confidence issues step aside as well. And there's something that just drives you to keep connecting until you're there. And it's usually that, you know, that just before you get to the end of the race, you feel, I can't go on any longer. And I always say to people, you know, just go over that last hurdle and you'll get there. And people do. More often than not, people actually hit the mark.
And what would you say to someone that, for example, has gone through all the, you know, work experience, all the volunteering, and is still just like not getting that job? How do you find that belief or that passion, motivation to just keep going? What would you say to that person?
I think sometimes you've got to step back from things, because sometimes we're so headstrong about going and gunning for it. It's like sitting in a car and you're just trying to get to your destination, and then you're oblivious to the countryside that you're driving through. So I think when we embrace everything and we honour the journey, I think that then helps us to get to our goal. We don't tend to just steam in there and get straight to point B. Otherwise, you miss the whole point of being here. And sometimes, you know, illness may be a challenge, and it is for us, in both our cases. And that's the driving force sometimes that helps you to dig deep and realise that actually life isn't a rehearsal, and you've got to put your level best into it. But I think when you're oblivious to everything around you, and you're just, you know, trying to aim to get there, if you step back and say, right, what am I missing? What should I bring into my life now to honour the whole of myself, the whole of my being, for the greater good of everybody? Because it can't just be for yourself. It's got to have a good effect on others as well. And that gives us a better reflective, you know, on it.
So just basically thinking about your surroundings and how you can,
and how it affects other people. You know, sometimes we can be very selfish in our need to get to an end goal, but when we're doing something which is for our greater good and for the greater good of everybody, then you will actually ultimately get there. But we've got to make sure that we honour our whole self in the process.
Honour your whole self. I like that. What do you think, Manal?
I think that you know, everyone's journey is different. I do think that sometimes if you've tried everything, if you're a young person, you think you've tried everything, I'd guarantee you 90% they haven't tried. Look at your, you know, surroundings. Look at the people that you surround yourself with as well. It sounds a bit harsh, but really if they're not on the same destination as you, or they're not like-minded as you, find people who are. Yeah, they'll push you. You need groups of people who can inspire you. Hang around with people who are like-minded. You know, go and find them. They're there. It sounds a bit sad, but seriously, you know, or you come along across them in your journeys, or you know, you're sitting in a job interview, waiting to be interviewed. You might find your peers with you. Connect with them. Connect with other people. Find them. I'd say, you know, that's one thing, and I'd also say, try something yourself. Don't just wait for the job. Yeah, blogging doesn't cost anything. Just start something yourself.
What kind of things would you suggest?
You could do podcasts. Do you know how many people are starting a podcast each day? I think it's a ridiculous number, like in the hundreds. So many people are starting podcasts. Wow. You know, there's youth centres out there with recording facilities. Go and inquire about these things. There's the blogging, so write about your stories. Either, you know, that you can make them up, or you can write about your story yourself. If you're shy, you can give yourself an alias. There's many ways, you know, you can start something in media.
Wow, I like that. You know, starting something yourself, going out there, getting what you want. It's really
You've got to
important.
take yourself out of your comfort zone. If you want to create something new, you can't stay in the same place that you already are. And you're quite right. We've got to be mindful of the people who are around us, because they are influencing our energy. So if you're with like-minded people who promote the sort of things that you want to achieve, then that's going to help you. You know, even in, you know, writing to people and saying, you know, I'd love to come on your radio show, and I'd like to talk about such and such, even if you do not feel the confidence to do it, but taking little steps every day to take yourself out of your comfort zone will take you the slow steps towards what you want to achieve. So you do have to keep breaking them through the boundaries all the time. That's the whole point of progression.
It is. Tell me about your book, about what you're doing, your writing.
Well, so the book, as I say, I started this in hospital in 2010. It was a secondary condition. Bless you. It was a secondary condition. I had meningitis 13 years ago, and that was devastating enough as it was. But they didn't know my longevity, what the outcome would be. I shouldn't really have left hospital. I should have had brain damage and amputations, etc. So to get a secondary condition, I came off lightly. I've had 2 more conditions that have developed since, and I've just been for an MRI scan on Monday, actually. So this is something that I live with, but I manage it well, because my determination through helping other people understand about overcoming adversity is the reason really why I started writing the book, to explain why I do what I do today. So it is the backstory. It's you know, what I created, because all the devastation that was created through the patterns that I'd formed through my upbringing, and then what that led on to. So it is about this generational thing, and I help people break these patterns. So it's breaking patterns of thinking that stops us from our progression, our best health, our best relationships, uniting, you know, being in right alignment, you know, all that sort of thing.
Right alignment, what is that for those viewers that don't know?
Yeah, alignment is, you know, when you get up in the morning and you feel the joy in your step, and everything just flows for you. You get to work okay, you have lovely conversations with people, everything, you know, you make the phone calls, and everything you want to achieve gets achieved that day. That's when you're in right alignment, because you're sending out that right thinking that's helping to bring that back in your environment. And it is a state of mind, and it is also about doing the things that actually helps advocate that as well, which is, you know, good eating well, sleeping, good people around you, exercise, all the things that you would think are the natural things you need to make your life successful. But believe me, when you've had illness, you'll do anything to stay here in this world. So, you know, once you start to go, I mean, I'm actually healthier and fitter than I am now. Oh, sorry, I'm healthier and fitter now than I was prior to my illness. So I advocate, you know, healthy living. I really do. And I'm determined to stay here as well.
You are determined to stay
Yeah,
here.
absolutely. I've got work to do.
What kind of work are you doing?
So I've written this book. I've written a second book. This came out in November of last year, and we didn't expect the notice that it got. And because of that, we pulled it from the publisher. They were so understanding about it, and they said it needs the right backing. So I have a literary agent now. She has got these 2 books that she's getting signed up with a top publisher. And I'm currently writing with, it's the screenwriter in America. She's writing the film based on this book.
Wow, she's writing a film.
She is, yeah, bless her. I mean, it's just incredible. So every day we're in communication, so I'm giving her feedback, and she's writing this creation, which is really quite incredible, because you wake up every day and you sort of pinch yourself and you think, really, is this happening now? So it's going to go out to a massive global audience. It's important, it's the message. It's about how we can overcome adversity in all its forms. And I think that, you know, in this day and age, we need stuff in the media that gives us hope. And I wanted it to be authentic. That's why I wanted to choose the right screenwriter who could really clearly understand where I was coming from. So yeah, it's a very exciting time.
And do you know who's going to be playing you?
She has mentioned somebody, but I said, really? So that's my confidence issue going on there. No, it's.
Do you think? I think you should do it. What do you think?
No, I wouldn't. No, that's something I wouldn't be able to do. But yeah, I get where she's coming from when she's chosen the character for this. But yeah, so as I say, again, we've got to see how this works, because life has sped up since I had illness. I pretty much pack life in, and I live every day as if it's my last, and dream as if I'm going to live forever. And that's how I really teach other people. You know, you've got to. As soon as you take life for granted, everything just comes to a grinding halt, and that's the mistake we make as human beings. We take too much for granted.
And what advice would you give to someone that's going through, you know, an illness right now, or you know, something in their life that is...
You've got to find a mentor. If you've got somebody you can speak to, somebody who can help you, who they can pull you through. So mentorship is really important, and I think that in this day and age, with illness the way it is, and all the you know, terrorism and all the stuff that we have to face, the atrocities that go on in this world, I think that's why we're reaching out so much in social media as well as media, for people who are mentors to try and change attitudes and beliefs about, for people, and that's what you need. And as soon as you've got somebody who can pull you out of the sludge, as I call it, they give you a lifeline, and then you can find your own power and strength from that.
I think that's, you know, finding your own power and strength is really important. What advice would you give to someone, Minal?
I think for me, when I was going through it, through my all the treatment, I was quite shut off from everyone apart from my immediate family, and I just wanted to, I couldn't be seen as being weak, so I didn't want to, you know, I worked through 6 of the chemos that I had, and I don't know, for me, I didn't want to speak to no one. I didn't want to speak. I didn't want a mentor. I just wanted to carry on. I wanted to get it over and done with and carry on with life. And I just think it's looking forward to something. I think if someone's going through an illness, look for the positives.
Look for the positives.
I built a very good relationship with my parents during my illness. You know, we bonded with them, and, you know, especially with my mum. That was a positive for me. And, you know, starting this business afterwards, there were things to look forward to. I think what people, if they're going through an illness, look for things to look forward to.
That's really important, to look for things, look forward, you know. And so our lovely Amanda, she has given us a copy of her book for competition. So if you don't want to know more about our competition, all you have to do is go to our Facebook page, and you have to tell us what art means to you. So if you do that, you can go to our Facebook page and enter our competition, and you could win a copy of this lovely book of Amanda's. So I just want to say thank you so much for coming onto our show. Thanks. How can someone get in touch with you?
So I've got a website which is amanda-hart.co.uk, and I've got a contact page, so it's got all the social media aspects of it, and there's the you know, the blogs and whatever on there. So yeah, or they can find me on Google. You'll find me on Facebook and Twitter and everything.
And how about you?
Got a website. This is redtower.com. I think it's under construction. Should be up in a few weeks. And on Twitter, this is Red Tower. So that's how they can get hold of me.
Okay, thank you so much for coming on our show, and thank you for watching us at home. We'll be back next week, and our topic is going to be science and technology. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.